Hello everybody, this is Coco here, and I was playing around with a faux felting technique and was very happy with the results. So my mission today is to try to recreate this. I used linen paper, and there is a design front and back. It's just so spectacular. This wonder is butterfly pea tea. Doesn't that sound terrible? Pea flower tea. But look what it does. In a moist environment it blooms. And this is linen paper, and because it's the pulp is a certain way, it has great capillary action. So I love the design front and back, and I was inspired by some fabric to try to create like a Monet. See that beautiful fabric? See if I could create kind of a Monet painting, impressionistic. And you know how that goes. We see what we want to see, and I'm just really tickled with it. So my mission is to repeat this. Here we go. All right, I start with an underlayment of just a glue solution. I've got a video on how to do that in the playlist, and this will also go in the playlist. So what I do is I lay down that glue, and it creates kind of a sticky surface, and I think it starts to pre-moisten the paper so we can get a little capillary action. Drawing that, and then I go back in, and I call this my Hail Britannia technique, but it really helps you look at the paper and not be overwhelmed by what you have to do. So starting at the center, go to the corners. And this Saturday and Sunday we're going to have a sale on Ciara's channel, and Julie Cybergirl will be there selling trims. Ciara will be selling her beautiful kits. I've got papers, and I will have a kit for this faux felting if this is something you think you'd like to do. So after you do that Britannia corner out sides, it's easier to look at this in a quadrant. So like right now I've got some paper curling up right there. I'm going to just go in there and make sure I get that quadrant. Get this quadrant. Get this quadrant. So there's just, the idea is just to get coverage and moisture. Okay, so to replicate this, I came in with some distress paints and did a gradation of a darker to a much brighter, lighter. And I wish I had left maybe just a little more of the white of the paper. Then I came in with blue. So that was my base layers of paint. And I think I picked out all the candidates. This is Rustic Wilderness. Distress oxide, so I'll give that a little spritz. I want it kind of dark there in the foreground. Okay. Next, I'm going to try Twisted Citron, which is kind of neon. But once you lay other things in there, okay, get ready. Here we go. It's crazy. Actually, it doesn't look too bad against that other green. So I'm going to try to leave a little band of white. And I think I used Salvage Patina for the sky. I might have gone a little bit more turquoise. So we'll see how we do. I need to take better notes. Okay, I'm going to go out here. That'll work. It's a lighter sky. Got to work with my little fussies. If this doesn't work, I've got to cheat. All right, I'll have to do a pour. Sometimes they just get a little fussy. Stuff in the jams the stem. All right, that works. Now what I'm going to do to help that along without a brush stroke is just kind of pretend it's an acrylic painting and do a little pour. There we go. Okay, so next I came in with a whole bunch of fibers. I have chenilles, and then I fluffed out some of the yarn, so there's a real 3D texture to this. I don't know if you can see the depth of that, but I utilized a whole bunch of these little chenilles, and they're going to absorb the paint. So you'll see the texture and the hint of a stem, but you won't necessarily see this color. Green. Okay. I've got some more to lay in there. And I've got a couple different textures of chenille. You want to kind of stagger. Got an extra fiber there. Okay. Go for a couple long ones. They'll create a little movement. This is a little bit more furry, a chenille. And I did not try that in the first batch, but I'm willing to experiment here. You can come along for the ride. Okay, I'm going to lay any short pieces there. You can see that's already starting to absorb. This went together pretty fast. There we go. Now, I was trying to deconstruct the scarf I had made, and I couldn't get it to untangle with that eyelash yarn. So I just took to cutting the little fluffy pieces in there to lay at the base. And there's a yarn in here in particular that's a super fluffer, and I'll show you that in a minute. But let me go ahead and get this down. This will be interesting to see how this turns out, a little bit color variation. So what will happen is I'll cover this with another glue solution and a piece of napkin backing or tissue paper, and that seals all this in but creates a bubbly texture. Okay, so there's that. I might go ahead and sprinkle some herbs in there. I dry my dill in the microwave. I did a video on that. It's in the playlist. And you don't need a whole lot, but this also will bloom out. Sometimes it adds another citron green or neon green. Think like a pickle. Oops, they're friendly. Okay, that works. I'll leave that down there. And I'm going to pop a couple dried chive flowers in there just for bump and texture. And something else I did was utilize loop fiber. And this is basically a glorified shoestring. It's hollow in the center, and you can run elastic through it, but I want some more bump. I've got lots of bump down here. I want bump up here. So I guess I'm getting tangled up. Disregard the gluey, painty fingers. I'm a work in progress too. Okay, I'm going to add some of these. Purple, faux purple, blooms, and then I'm also going to come in with what I'm calling my faux feti. This is what I trim off papers when I'm done with them, and it has distress oxides in it, and that actually, when it hits a moist environment, will bloom. So I want to get the appearance of a field of purple flowers. And we'll see how this does. You'll have to tune in. Come to the sale on Saturday or Sunday, and you'll see the finished product. But it already looks pretty and lively to me. Let's see. I want to add maybe another color of purple up there. Keep the fibers going. I'll put some of those down here too. So random is the key. So I was trying to come up with the word, but it's rather oxymoronic to say, I purpose to be random. It's an intentional randomness, but you really, in nature, you have movement. You don't have things, flowers that face you square on, you know? And I think when we try to recreate nature, we do that. We try to create a full-on sunflower or whatever. And I want to show you what happens with those little bits of faux feti. When you lay them in a moist environment, they bloom like a flower and even comes through to the other side of the paper. So it'll be real subtle. It'll be a subtle bloom. Okay, but now I want to have a big pop of bloom. So I'm coming in with the butterfly tea, and just a little bit goes a crazy long way. So watch the tiniest little piece here. And I'm going to show you an example on paper again, how crazy it bloomed. So see that deep blue? That is all butterfly PT. That sounds terrible. Butterfly flower pea, I don't know, pea flower tea. But that's amazing. Just that tiniest little snip will create that bloom in there. So, like I said, tune in. Come visit us over the weekend sale. All right, so now what I need up here is something fluffy so that I have balance when I lay the rice paper. This won't be the only 3D element. So even though I laid some puffy stuff up here, it all trapped in blue. It would be kind of nice if I could keep a little white, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I want to show you something I do. I take regular yarn, whoopsies. I take regular yarn and I felt it. And that will also be part of the demonstration. But I'm going to lay some of that down in here. Kind of reminds me of the angel hair that we had around our angel and the Christmas tree. I want to make sure I maybe put some in the corner so that that lays the paper somewhat more squarely. This will be interesting to see what this does, because I did not lay white the last time. I laid kind of a bluish color up in there. Okay, now I think I'm going to call this one good. I think I've got enough on there. Maybe I'll introduce a little bit of sky faux feti, sky color. So I still have that band of white, which is awesome. We'll see how this does. I'm telling you, I'm just so addicted to making papers. And if you're interested and want to come watch again and consider the kit, I'm still working out all the elements that will go in the kit, how much yarn I want to share for my stash, because unfortunately many of my fancy fluffy yarns are no longer in production. But I've got enough to share, maybe 20. Guess I got a little frisky there, didn't I? I'll just push it back. Okay, so now same thing, start from the center and gently work your way out. We're going to be going over lumps and bumps, so you want to be careful. Sometimes the napkin backing is fragile. You never know the quality of the napkin. Might be robust or it might be wimpy. So see, I've got to come over that lump of yarn that I laid down. The goal is just take your time, do a little spreading. We were joking about a theme song for the craft room. And I was telling my husband, what you do is you lay all this down and you start spreading the glue. I'm crafting today. Gonna make a brand new art of it in my studio. So the glue solution, the recipe for it, is on another video that will be in this playlist. And it's basically school glue. And you can get a good deal at Walmart. We're going to go check it out. 2 gallons, I think, for $24. And what I do is a ratio of 1 part glue, 2 parts water, because I want it to be like milk. And this particular batch looks a little thicker than milk. But maybe that'll work in my advantage because I'm trying to trap all those fibers. And that looks like the napkin's holding well. Of course, it'll be so much fun to see that little speck turn into a big bloom. So for those of you who are fairly new to my channel, of course, I'm trying to grow it. So if you want to be apprised of my videos, you'll want to first of all subscribe, and there's a little notification bell, and you have varying degrees of notification, and you can kind of figure out the metrics they use for that. But if you set it for full notification, anytime I upload a video, you'll get a little ping that'll let you know, and that way you can kind of come in and watch how I'm playing and join in the fun, hopefully. I do have some kits available and of this Faux FETI, and they're going to be limited. And I have just a couple more kits left of my nature texture papers because I'm depleting my supply of herbs and I'm running out of my little garden flowers. But it's been nice to see the interest. Now my favorite thing will be seeing what people do with it. Okay, so now I've got excess napkin here, and it's gone past the edge of my mat. So I cheat. I can also pre-cut that with scissors, but I just do an accordion fold and tamp it down, and it starts to absorb excess glue, which is helpful because where I dry this, sometimes the cart tilts and a lot of the stuff runs to one corner. So I'm going to tamp that down. Looks like it's doing a good job. I'm going to give this a quick spin. Make sure I've got all of this. Okay, so now what I like to do is come in here and pre-distress the page again. So again, we got a problem with that. I'm going to put some ink on this end. Distress oxide ink, paper, paint. I'm trying to think what they call it. I'm just going to tell it who the boss is and let it run. And that's part of the fun of these. You never know. Sometimes your things that were done out of an accident create the best effect. And then you try to replicate it and you can't. Okay, so now I'm going to just bring down some of this color along the edge. So when I go to trim this, this will have a hint of that blue. And I'll bring it down that far. I want to make sure I get some up here. And some there. Put just a little bit. And this will dry and I can trim all of this with the color. Okay, now looks like I've got plenty of citron or twisted color there. Let me do a little bit more of this down here. I want this darker as it dries. And when I did that on this, it did a nice job. I might even come in with a little bit more twisted citron and give that another little spritz. I don't want too much because I want some of those colors to come through and bloom. So remember, those little specks are going to bloom this big. Okay, well, this is Coco signing out. Please subscribe, set the notification, and please come visit us. I will be posting where we'll be on Ciara's channel, and she will sell some of her beautiful shabby kits, and then of course Julie from Cyber Girl will be there, and she's got beautiful flowers, and I forgot to actually put some of those in here. I was trying out some of her silk, and then she has paper flowers, and when I cut some and laid them in, they did a beautiful job. And let's see, one more time, I want to show you. I will also have my Faux FETI kits available, and 20 strips. They're 1 inch times 3 inches, and they're going to be a little bit bigger than this, but a little dab will do ya, and those are $3. So those will be at the sale Saturday and Sunday. And I put this together so folks can see, this is still wet, how beautifully they bloom. They're almost better than a real flower. Okay, toodles.